All right. Hey guys. So, where to even begin? If you saw the title of this video, then you probably know where this is going. But obviously, I still need to talk. I'm not even in school anymore, but for any of you guys who know me, I've kind of always been referred to by my lovely followers as like a mom, an aunt, an older sister, some kind of figure that is very caring and needs to try to like protect her little hens or her little chicks or something. I don't know how to put it, but I care so much about you guys. I care so much about the people who are slightly younger than me, who are going through this pretty much the same experiences that I just went to, because you guys are the ones that my experiences can help the most. And my goal on this channel is always to the best of my abilities, give you whatever experiences I have that might be beneficial for you. And even though I have not gone through COVID as a college student, and even though I'm not going to university this year because I graduated in 2019, I still have feelings and thoughts, and at the very least, this is just a video to get all of these thoughts out of my mind and off my chest. So, hey Babel, my kitty cat. So yeah, COVID. I know there's a lot of discourse right now about whether or not it's even worth it to go to university or art school, whatever. And in my personal opinion, I think y'all need to take a semester off or a year off. And I really think that's most important, and that's the best and only decision right now if you're worried about your health or the health of other people around you. For those of you who don't know, I'm a transfer student, so I've been to huge universities. We're talking like 20,000 students on a huge campus. And I've also been to art school, which is significantly smaller and only like 12 people per class, things like that. I've had both experiences. And from my experiences, I'm just having the hardest time figuring out how a university could possibly make it CDC approved, make it COVID safe for their students. Dorm rooms in particular, I don't know how they could possibly, like how? The whole point of a dorm is to put all these students in one specific spot, and like everyone loves hanging out with their friends in the other people's dorms and sleeping over and all this, like sharing the bathrooms and everything, and I just, how? Or like huge lecture halls. Are you gonna wipe down every single chair after every single lecture? No, they're not going to do that. Like, is every single student going to be perfect about wearing a mask? No, they're not, because we live in the United States, and apparently wearing a mask is going against our freedom. Like, what I'm saying is, from what I've heard from these universities, the language they're using is very vague. It's very empty. They don't know what they're doing. No one knows what they're doing. In the United States, at least, no one knows what they're doing. There's not a single person, organization, institution, company, anything in the United States right now that knows what to do about COVID and is actually following through on anything with COVID. We just don't have our shit together. So the idea that a university that is built on getting as much money from students as possible, and that is built on bringing as many students together as possible for learning, for what's considered the highest education, is just kind of mind-boggling to me, because it can't be done. So let's talk about online classes. Obviously, I didn't take any of the online classes that happened last semester, and some people might be arguing, well, last semester was really bad because it kind of came out of nowhere, the teachers weren't prepared for it, but this semester things will be better because they're more prepared. Even if a teacher is more prepared, teaching online is just never the same as teaching in person. I took an online class at UConn. It was a microeconomics class, and the class itself was dedicated to be online. It was like, it had been online for years. Every single course material, video, everything, it was all geared to be perfectly online and perfectly usable, right? Even then, even with everything set up the way it's supposed to, the best way possible, I struggled so much in that class. It was so hard to understand what they were teaching me because I couldn't really ask questions. It just wasn't the same. And I'm a student who is a very, very type A, and I really like, sitting down and like focusing. I know that I can do that. I always have with my classes. But even with that type A personality, I just had the hardest time with an online class that was meant to be online. And now it's microeconomics. Like, that's something that isn't even using equipment. Like, I don't know how you ceramics majors are going to do anything. I digress. Online classes just aren't the same. And as a YouTuber who has put out tutorials on the internet, I also know how limiting it is. I go into my YouTube videos with an idea of what I'm going to teach, and I try my hardest to show examples and like really be informative and all that kind of stuff. But I do not have the ability to sit down with you and like really show you exactly what you need. That's the whole point of university education when it's not online, is to really help you, the student. That's what you're paying the big bucks for. And I think it's ludicrous that these universities are charging the same amount in tuition or more, I'm looking at you, RISD, or more, for an entirely online experience. It's just not the same. And if you don't think so, you clearly haven't listened to any teacher, because Instagram, for whatever reason, thinks that I'm a teacher or a mom, and so I get targeted information from it, right? So I get all these posts from teachers, and they're freaking out, frankly. They're freaking out about this because they know that their universities don't know what the hell they're doing. And them as teachers know that like they've got their hands tied behind their back. And for some studies, like business or math or whatever, that really doesn't require like hands-on equipment or anything, maybe this is doable. But if you're watching this, you're probably an art major. And I can't stress enough, art is just one of those things that you really need a lot of like hands-on tools for. So being at school in the studios, using their equipment, using their supplies and everything is really, really beneficial. It's super important. It's really hard to do work at home. I mean, for God's sake, I don't know how anyone can do oil paints in an apartment, Like, I'm really heated. Can you tell? I'm really heated. So I just don't think there's a way. I don't think you're getting what you're paying for. Not in the slightest. You're not getting what you're paying for. And you're paying so much money. So much money. God. And then another thing. When I was younger, when I decided to transfer, I really, really, really didn't want to miss a semester. I really wanted to graduate class of 2018 like I was supposed to. I wanted to graduate in 4 years. And when I found out kind of too late that there was no way that was going to happen, I was very sad about it, and I was in very deep denial for about a year. If you talk to me as a sophomore, I always said like, well, on paper I'm a sophomore, but if you look at my credits, I'm actually more of a junior. Like, I'm really not, like, I'm not class of 2019. I'm not. I was really, really in denial about it. And that's because there's a lot of stigma against taking a semester or a year off and delaying your education by even the tiniest bit. The beautiful thing about university is that it's not middle school, high school, any education that's very like year after year after year. It's totally fine to take breaks, gaps, be fluid with it. You're paying for one chunk of time, and then you go do it, and then you can choose not to do it or continue to do it or whatever. There's really not a lot of issue with taking breaks, but it's only when you've actually taken a break that you realize that it's really no big deal. When you're, trying to graduate in 4 years immediately out of high school, when you're on that track, it's really hard to believe that. I had a really hard time believing that, and I really beat myself up for a long time about it. But as a transfer student, as someone who has gotten over that mindset, who has been through the process of graduating late, I can very comfortably say that my semester off working and kind of gearing myself up or whatever was really, really important. It gave me much better perspective as to why I need this education, and it needed to be done. And I don't regret that decision in the slightest. I could have, stayed at UConn for like that extra semester and gathered a whole bunch of credits or whatever, but it wouldn't have made that much of a difference. And I think having that semester off was really, really beneficial to how I perceived school, because rather than just seeing it as la la la, I'm a sophomore, just kind of going with the flow, I really saw it as, okay, the real world is coming up in like 2 years. Here's what I need to get done to be the most prepared. So that was actually really, really useful. And in the case of COVID, I mean, we have the plague. Like, you're keeping yourself safe. So I just can't stress enough, if one of the only things that's holding you back from not going to school, if one of the things that you're really freaking out about is, I need to graduate on time, I really want you to ask yourself, why? If you are an art major in particular, there's no earthly reason that I can think of anyway, but there's no earthly reason why you need to graduate in 4 years. What's the rush? You know, if you are a med student or something that really has a tight track, if you have a very specific reason that you need to get university done as quickly as possible, that's one thing. But if not, I really cannot strongly recommend enough to just take a semester off and just stay safe. Learn what you want online. Go explore on your own terms. But why are you paying tens of thousands of dollars for a half-assed mediocre education that's really not gonna push you forward? I'd much rather you guys graduate late, but with a proper 4-year, 8-semester college education, than graduate in perfectly 4 years, but have only 7 or 6 semesters that were really beneficial, you know? Because you're trying to get the most out of your education. That's the whole point of college, is getting the most out of it. So oh my God, please don't let that stigma get to you. Please don't. And please don't let this stupid country telling you that everything's fine get to you either. I know a lot of people believe that COVID is something that only older people need to worry about. It's only something that is going to kill people in their 50s and 60s. And if you're in your 20s or your late teens or whatever, that you're going to bounce back just fine. It's like the flu. It's not. I've been seeing so many posts for people who've gotten COVID who now have permanent lung damage. Scientists are just discovering permanent brain trauma, brain damage. We don't know the long-term effects of COVID, so we don't know what's going to happen in the future. But people's lungs and their kidneys are getting wrecked. And there was one story in particular that really made me freak out, and it was about this girl who started getting symptoms and literally in 2 days died of COVID, and she was 23. I'm 23. So reading that made me absolutely terrified. And I don't want any of you guys to die because capitalism? I'm trying to be lighthearted about this, but it's honestly terrifying. It's so fucking scary. So, my 2 cents, if I had to wrap this up, would be, if it's not too late, please take a semester off. And if you are a freshman, please, for the love of God, just put your freshman year off a year. I haven't talked about this yet, so I clearly need to. Freshman year is a magical year. It was definitely my favorite year of college. It was so amazing. It was so fun. It was so freeing. It's that wonderful kind of taste of being your own adult, your own person, away from school and parents and all that stuff. And it was really great. And I would hate for your first year experience to be tainted by plague. No, to be kind of disrupted and tainted by online classes and stuff. I know that's kind of a superficial reason to not go to school is, the magic's not there, but it really is something else. And I would hate for you guys to miss out on that, if I'm being perfectly honest. Please, 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 if you're on the fence, please do some deeper consideration. If you guys have thoughts and feelings and whatever down below, please share them. Seniors who just went through this bullshit last semester, what are your thoughts? How did you guys experience things? Do you think freshmen, sophomore, juniors, anyone should be going into school? What are your thoughts? Med students, if you have feelings, what do you think? Doctors, lend an ear. I'm just worried. I'm just really, really worried, and I care so much about you guys. There's so much good shit on the internet. You guys know that I'm a huge champion of your going to school education. I really think it's amazing. And I think it's better than trying to study exclusively on your own. But this is one of those cases where I really think that educating yourself for a semester or so would be really great. There's so many resources on the YouTubes, on the entire internet. But the point is, you can really get a lot out of this semester on your own, and you'll probably get more out of this semester than if you freaking went to school. So I am very overheated, and I'm sweating and ranting, and I don't even know if this video is helpful. I'm just worried and paranoid, and I don't want to see a huge spike in 20-something-year-olds catching COVID come this September. I'm so angry. I don't want that to happen. And damn it, I'm using my platform to talk about it. Anyway, I have another video that I'm working on, and I've been very nervous to post it, but that's coming up. And I have other things, of course, that I'm going to be talking about. If you guys have a video that you want me to talk about, anything that you want me to talk about, leave it down below. Any opinions, thoughts, feelings, feel free to use my comment section as a venting platform. And, yeah. Best of luck to all you guys, and also best of luck to all of you high schoolers who watch my videos. That one, I really don't know what to say, but I just want you guys to know that I'm thinking of you, and I hope that you are doing well. Please take care of yourself, wear your mask, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.